big welcome to your final, yes, final Get Ready for Race Equality Week 2024, get 1 month to go event. In fact, including today, it's only 26 days to go. So 25 days from tomorrow until the 5th of February, which is the beginning of Race Equality Week. We've heard many of you with some exciting plans in place. And for those who are new or still developing ideas, don't worry. Today is all about helping you. And as the title says, get ready for Race Equality Week. Next slide, please. For those who don't know me, I'm Javid Thomas, co-founder of Race Equality Matters and of the Collaboratory, along with Raj Tulsiani, who's the CEO of Green Park, co-founder and chair of Race Equality Matters. Due to popular demand, today's special session will be interactive and collaborative, but you get engaged as much or as little as you feel comfortable with, the more the merrier. The agenda provides a fantastic chance to learn from each other and hear what others are doing for Race Equality Week. It's all about being part of a big community, and we're delighted to see the numbers growing. We're expecting more than 150 organisations today from 100 different locations across the UK. You can see the 180 people in the room already. And the locations include Birmingham to Bristol, so hello to you, Gravesend to Glasgow, Manchester to Memphis, and Kent to Kansas City. So no comment on Elvis or Wizard of Oz. Okay. Next slide, please. Before we start, a bit of housekeeping. As you know, we are looking to help make our events more accessible. Hence, when registering, we ask you, how can we support? And we'll try our best. This includes closed captioning, which has been enabled for this main session. We have also got a solution for the virtual breakout rooms, and you'll find a link in the chat to help you with the accessibility on that, and we'll share it again later. The event is recorded, so you can access later, except for the breakout sessions, because they're private for yourselves. And the event will be made available to you along with the slides, hopefully next week. Okay, your sound will be auto-disabled, so please share ideas and questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to respond to these. The chat will be extremely busy for a couple of interactive sessions, so I'll give you a heads up in advance in case you need to switch off the sound off if utilising certain accessibility tools. There could be a lot of pings. Please tweet and post on social media content and your thoughts during and after the event to help us grow our reach, to get more organisations involved, and ultimately grow our community of changemakers like you to make a greater impact on tackling race inequality. Do also sign up to Race Equality Matters on the website for free if you haven't already, because this keeps you informed and up to date what's happening. And there's always new things for you to get involved in or benefit from. Next slide. The agenda, so over this next packed hour and a quarter, you'll have an opportunity to take part in State of the Nation polls, and we'll share them results with you, and an opportunity to collaborate with each other. We'll remind you what Race Equality Week is all about and opportunities to get involved and what you can do. We will do a live walkthrough of our newest solution, the 2024 5-day challenge, so you can get a sense of how it can work in your organisation during Race Equality Week. We will share some news on a new solution to help organisations tackle microaggressions that we are launching during Race Equality Week. We'll also touch on other solutions you could utilise during the week, including our fantastic new diversity, inclusion and belonging tool. You'll also hear about the lineup of Race Equality Week events, and also we can provide you and your organisations more support with a new membership program for organisations. And for those attend today, an opportunity to receive a discount if you join the waiting list. We'll finish at 1:45 p.m, but we know some people want to ask questions. So we'll add some additional bonus time for those that want to stay behind at the end for some Q&As. Okay. The aim is for you today is to leave with 50 more ideas of what you could do. All you have to do is find one, but you'll get lots of ideas that'll be suitable for you and your organisations to tackle race inequality in Race Equality Week and beyond. Next slide, please. Just in case you're new to Race Equality Matters, and we welcome the many new people joined today, here's a quick reminder of how we can help. We exist to meet the needs and fill the gaps by providing free tools, support and resources for race networks and other change makers like you in organisations across the UK and beyond. So far, we've designed and co-created 6 impactful solutions that work in collaboration with those with lived experience of race inequality, a number of whom I can see are in the room today. So we'd like to say thank you to them and the others. With more in development, our solutions so far include Race Equality Week, Tea Break, which is co-created with Network Rail's Cultural Fusion Network, which is to understand more about your people, key issues that affect them, and how your colleagues are thinking and feeling. The Big Promise, which is all about turning words into meaningful and impactful action. My Name Is, which is all about making sure we respect each other and get each other's names correct. And during Race Equality Week 2022, it reached 1.74 billion people. Safe Space Plus, which is action focused. It's not just talking. It allows brave conversations, uncomfortable discussion, but drives meaningful action and change. And next slide, please. And the 5-day challenge, which we'll explain more later. All these solutions are something your organization can implement during Race Equality Week and beyond. Just need to do one. If you want to do more, absolutely fantastic. You'll find links in the chat and we'll send it after the event as well. And where it provides all the resources and how to do it right guides. Next slide. We provide all these solutions, how to do right guides, and some workshops and a lot more free to individuals like yourselves. So to remove some of the key barriers you face in tackling race inequality when your organization said there's no budget. Next slide. Crucially, they all focus on making a significant impact. And as you can see on the screen, this is the difference it's making to tackle race inequality. Next slide. All of our work, including Race Equality Week and our solutions, would not be possible without the financial support of key partners. So a big thank you to Lloyd's of London and Green Park, who together fund and power Race Equality Week. Next slide. Thank you. Also, a big thank you to our other co-founder of the Collaboratory, Lifetime Visionary Partner BT, and partners Autotrader, HS2, Amy, Edelman, and Network Rail. Their support means we can run Race Equality Week and that you as change maker can access as many other resources for free. We can't keep, it's not sustainable. So if you want to find out more how you can partner, support, or sponsor or marketing opportunities, then do get in touch. info@raceequalitymatters.com. And if you really wanted to, I'd even talk to you. Thank you. You can also register your interest in the poll at the end. Our work is supported by donations, so a big thank you to all the individuals and organizations that have donated. If you're benefiting our resources and events and would like to contribute, you can use this handy QR code. So we're trying to get into the 22nd century or 21st century. Any amount you give or your organization gives will make a real difference. It all adds up in the end. So thank you for that. And thank you to those that have been doing it already. Next slide. Before we start, we'd like to do our quick poll State of the Nation. So please do that. And we will share I'll go through a few of the results now, but we'll share with them with you after the event. And it's good to see where you and your organization is compared to others. So thank you. Thank you all for taking part in the poll. A fantastic 237 of you. So question one was, how do you identify yourself? So 45% as allies and then 54% ethnically diverse or appropriate equivalent. So a nice mix here today. The role and position you play in your organization. So that's 34% see themselves as D&I or RD&I, 14% HR and 21% senior leaders. We've got 19% race network members and 24% race network leads. And about a quarter are other roles and positions. Question 3. Did your organization participate in Race Equality Week 2023? So 39% of here today say yes, and 34% saying no, and then 27% not sure. We want to get this 39% up into, let's go for the 70% by the end of today's event. So hopefully, so no pressure on us then. Question 4. Does your organization have plans for Race Equality Week 2024? 24% saying yes, so that's a quarter of you. 55%, which is fantastic, are working on it. Remember, 25 days to go. And then 22% not sure or no. So again, you'll leave today with lots of ideas and being inspired to know what to do for Race Equality Week. Well, that's the objective. Question 5. Which Race Equality Matters solutions has your organization implemented? And 30% the 5-day challenge. 28% My Name Is, 12% Big Promise, 8% Safe Space Plus, and 8% Tea Break. We see sort of 54% of you actually saying none of the above or not sure. So again, by then today, hopefully you have some ideas of what you could implement because they really do make a difference. Question 6, how is your organization addressing race inequality? So 31%, only 31% focus on action, not just words. Really need to get that up. 49% talks and does a little bit of action. And then 5% just talks, 5% does very little. Question 7. Do you feel your senior leaders and managers are committed to tackling race inequality? 43% saying yes, so that's kind of normal at our events. And then 50% a little but not enough. So we need to move that little bit but not enough into the yes. The lead the change event or bring along a lead event, which I'll talk about later, is perfect for that, for leaders to be inspired by others and change makers like yourselves. So thank you for that. Question 8. How often do you believe microaggressions occur in your organization? So happens rarely, only 12%. So happens rarely, only 12%. So for the rest, they are experiencing it. So it's happens quite often, a lot and daily, becomes 34%, and then occasionally 24%. 27% I'm not sure, but we know from our experience that many are experiencing it. Question 9. How often are racial microaggressions called out or questioned by colleagues? Regularly and quite often, only 12%. Our previous polls is about 16%, so this reflects it. So only 12% think they're quite often and regularly called out. We really need to up that. And then, as you can see, hardly ever or never is 28%. And the new solution, it's not micro. If you hear it, don't ignore it, is going to be crucial to that. And final question, 10. To have the greatest effect, who should be calling out microaggressions? And you can see allies not directly affected, 57%. 20% saying the person experiencing it, and we do agree. If you feel confident and safe to call it out, then that's good. But we know many people don't feel safe or confident to do it, and this is where our allies need to become active and step up, especially those that are not affected by it. So thank you all for that, and on to the next bit. So what is Race Equality Week all about? So here's a quick video to sum up 2023. Thank you.
Race equality is everyone's business because it's not the obligation of ethnic minorities to create an inclusive and fair working environment. That's everybody's responsibility. And when an organization, a working environment is inclusive, it benefits everyone. And that's why it's everyone's business.
Racial equality is everyone's business because it is not only the right thing to do, it is in our best interest to do so. When some members of our society are denied equal opportunities or are treated unfairly because of their race, it has a ripple effect that impacts all of us. We all want to live in a society that is fair and just, where everyone has the opportunity to succeed and reach their full potential. By working together to promote race equality, we can create a more inclusive and harmonious society for all of us.
David, welcome to the opening event for the third Race Equality Week.
Play the role of an equality detective and give all of your people the tools to play that role so that this becomes everyone's business, not just the chief exec or the EDI manager or the HR team or the people with the lived experiences and the people experiencing the disadvantage.
doing the 5-day challenge.
Hi, I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
GI Group Holding is doing the 5-day challenge.
Thank you. I noticed a few people had some sound issues, so sometimes it's logging off, logging on, or it might be a setting you may have. So I do apologize for that. Everyone can access this video after, so you can use it internally as well. Yeah, hopefully that'll be helpful for you all. Next slide. As you know, Race Equality Matters is all about helping you make an impact. So it's great when we hear that 86% said you learned something new last year. 94% would recommend it to others, and 90% said it would help have an impact on tackling race inequality in their organization. So next slide, please. As you know, race equality, to help you create a focus for you, your colleagues, other organizations to unite, each year we have a theme. So in 2021, it was let's not go back to normal as we came out of the pandemic. 2022 was action, not just words. 2023, it needs to be everyone's business. And the theme for 2024 chosen by the community is listen, act, change. So listen to what others are saying and thinking and feeling, act upon it, and let's change or be the change. So I'd like to hear, as always, we're not going to hear from him, but as Barack Obama would say, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. So it's up to us all and our colleagues to be the change. Before we give you a first chance to collaborate, Mark Lomas, Head of Culture at Lloyd's, who along with Green Park Power Race Equality Week, is going to share with us why he loves the theme. Why is the theme for Race Equality Week so important?
I love the theme of this year, listen, act, change. It's important and it's really good because it actually says exactly what you need to do on the tin. You know, first, listen to the people that are impacted by the way things are done, the processes and policies in place today. The second, and this is where we need a bit more acceleration, is then act on those insights. Do something differently. And the third is vitally important to maintaining that momentum, measure that change. So I really like Listen, Act, Change because it puts a framework around what ethnically diverse people want to see in the workplace.
Thank you, Mark. As promised, now's an opportunity for you to share your thoughts and ideas with each other by going to small breakout groups. Sam, if we can have 28 groups, that'd be great. The discussion is, what are your ideas and plans for Race Equality Week in your organization? What are your ideas and plans for Race Equality Week in your organization? Appreciate when you go to groups, some of you may not be sure yet, and that's fine. Not everyone doesn't have to contribute, but feel free to share with each other. We've allowed 8 minutes, and as time will go fast, we suggest someone keeps an eye on the time in the team, and you don't use it up by doing introductions. You will use all 8 minutes introducing each other. We'll give you a 1 minute warning at the end. We know some of you may feel uncomfortable going into the breakout session, so feel free not to do so. You can stay here, and others may want to keep the camera off if you go in there. The more that go into the breakout sessions, the more we can sort of help each other. In the chat is a link to an option for you to access captioning should you need it in the breakout. So in the link now, there's a captioning tool for you. So as I said, the topic of discussion is what are your ideas and plans for Race Equality Week in your organization? So if people got us in the rooms, and we'll see you all in about 8 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. It was a really interesting group. Some new people looking to learn or find some new ideas, which is great. One of the hot topics we talked about is getting other allies to understand the issues and challenges we face more. And we think the 5-day challenge is about that. And also one of the team mentioned about the challenge of names. So my name is a really good solution for that. As I said, it's all about collaboration. I know you're in small groups. So what we'd like you to do is in the chat, if you put in some ideas that you think your organization is looking to do or good ideas for Race Equality Week, put it in the chat. I said, we'll gather it. And then next week, we'll send it back to you all. So you have lots of ideas in there that might be useful for you. So if everyone can throw in the chat, we'll allow sort of like just 30 seconds for that. Don't worry about typos and spellings, and that's fine. It's just getting your ideas down there. So before we go into a live run for the 5-day challenge, and I said so you can experience it, many of you have been asking, how can you get more involved with Race Equality Medicine? How can we support you more? I said we're a very small and thin team, so we're excited to announce, drum roll please, if we had the music and the budget, we do one. So do your fingers on your desks. Next slide. We've created a Race Equality Matters membership offering, developed and collaborating with the community, and it will be launching soon. Race Equality Matters membership will give your organizations access to networking and collaboration opportunities and expertise, including exclusive access to use the Race Equality Matters membership logo, as you can see on the right of the screen. So again, it's a kite, not a kite marker, showing you're part of the community. Exclusive thought leadership virtual seminars, Race Equality Matters solution workshops, ideas and insights resources, invites to co-create Race Equality Matters solutions. So you can be part of the team creating the solutions, and some free credits to the Race Equality Matters jobs board. And I said there's some exclusive insights and events you can come to. So as a Race Equality Matters member organization, you'll be seen as part of the network with your logo featured on the member page of the Race Equality Matters website. So obviously branding opportunity to that. What about somebody that can afford to pay? Next slide, please. So we've tried to make this, the benefits are worth thousands of pounds, but to make it accessible for the majority, annual membership will be £499. And for not-for-profits, it'll be £399. So we've made it as affordable for all. And again, it helps keep us sustainable and funds us. It will also enable you to benefit from discounts for some other resources as well that you might want to pay for, and a great way to elevate your brand, network with other people, or learn from each other. We'll share the link in the chat so you can find out more to join the waiting list. And if you join the waiting list, anyone that joins it before the end of this month will receive a further 20% discount on that. Okay, so we can make it as affordable as we can. Okay, so on to our first new solution for Race Equality Week. Next slide, please. So as we mentioned, to help support you and your organizations to listen, act, change, as we always do, we create new solutions co-created with the community. The 5-day challenge 2024, which follows the success of the 2023 version, with 75% of people say they wanted a new version with new challenges. We've listened, we've acted, and we're helping create change. Yes, we listen, act, change. See, we can do it too. And so here is an exclusive just for you preview of the 5-day challenge issue 2. We're also going to do an abridged live walkthrough of each day. But before I do, for those new to it, what is it? Next slide. In a nutshell, built by the REM community, the 5-day challenge is a set of 5 challenges that take 5 minutes over 5 days. It is that simple. Next slide. Each day has a theme. A self-reflection eye-opener question, a thought-provoking 2 to 4 minute eye-opener video, some theory, so simple suggestions on how to take action, and then access to additional resources suggested by the community should you want. The activities are bite-sized, accessible to maximize colleagues' level of engagement. Looks like a lot of information there, but this can be all done in 5 minutes each day. Okay. On day 5 is for individuals to make a commitment to action through the Big Promise. For those that did the Big Promise as part of the 5-day challenge last year, it will be time to review that promise and see if you want to make a new one or continue to build on that activity tied to the original promise. Next slide. The themes for this year are microaggressions, understanding different cultures, public praise, a culture of belonging, the Big Promise. Next slide. To support your organization to implement it, we've created a how to do it right guide for the project manager so that you can download that now. And there are daily ready to go PDFs for each day that you can utilize. And these can be distributed to employees or accessed via your organization's employee portal or however you see fit. Again, you'll find a link in the chat to access them. Next slide. We will now do a bridge run through of some of the 5-day challenge for you to experience and how it would work. Okay, so this will be the cover of day 1, and it's about microaggressions. So, do you ever hear someone say something inappropriate in the workplace that would be considered microaggression, but waits for someone else to speak up? So that's just setting the scene. Next slide, please. So the eye opener for this one is if you witnessed someone describing a black woman as angry when she only spoke passionately about a subject matter, what would you typically do? Would you ignore it because you did not know it was a microaggression? Ignore it because you do not want to get involved? Wait for someone else to speak up? At an appropriate time, speak to someone else who can look to question it? Would you question it in the moment? Question it privately after it has happened? Or question it in the moment, but also speak to the colleague affected privately when it is appropriate? I'm pretty sure there's lots of options there, but it just gives you a sense of how would you normally act in these situations. Next slide, please. So a microaggression is a subtle, often unintentional form of prejudice. It often takes the shape of an offhand comment, inadvertently painful joke, or a pointed insult. Here are just some examples, and in our guide, there'll be more. I don't see color. There's no need to be so angry. You're so articulate. Can I touch your hair? Where are you really from? I can't pronounce your name. Can I call you X for short? Okay, these are just some examples. So what would happen if you hear these in a meeting? Next slide, please. So these are everyday occurrences that may on the surface appear quite harmless, trivial, or be described as small slights. But research indicates they have a powerful impact upon the psychological well-being of marginalized groups and affect their standard of living by creating inequities in healthcare, education, and employment. And that's by Daryl Wing, a professor of psychology in Columbia University. From our research, I think these stats are really important to be aware of. 83% experience microaggressions in the workplace. Yet in a recent poll, only 16% said the microaggressions are regularly or often called out by colleagues. 69% though said it is because they don't know what to say, and 59% said people don't know how to. But it's up to allies to become active and not those impacted by the microaggression. This can be done in a non-confrontational way by simply asking, what did you mean by that? Or can I check what you mean by that? Using another non-confrontational question phrase that you are more comfortable with. This is to give the person the opportunity to reflect or at times correct clumsy language that wasn't meant to be harmful. It also enables everyone to be aware of what microaggressions are. This will create a culture that will enable meaningful change. Next slide, please. We're going to show a video. Sorry, here's a quote from Mark Lomas, and we've heard this many times. For me, microaggressions are like death by 1,000 cuts. It's the accumulation of these instances over weeks, months, and years that make it so painful. Next slide. We are going to show a video, and we appreciate it can be upsetting for some people if you haven't seen it. So, but it really gets across the message, and we thank Badlands for letting us use it. Thank you.
Adam, how's that deck going?
My name's Ade.
Cameron, the very man I want to see. So we've been working with the usual team of suppliers there.
America is just mental. And personally, I just don't see colour. Oh, Ade, perfect timing.
Adam, Eve, that's looking good.
We love it, to be honest.
The brief said they wanted to speak to a new generation. The brand needs to feel modern if they want to make an impact.
My only concern is that it's a bit too urban, perhaps. Pictures at 4 p.m. Don't let me down.
Basically saying make it less black.
Office politics, man. They want us to keep our blackness in check. You should have said something, man.
Yes, Joe.
How you doing, man? Mate, I'm telling you, that gig last night was sick!
That wasn't me, mate.
Ah, you're a joker, man! See you later, Joe boy!
Personally,
My name's Ade.
I just don't see colour.
It's a bit too urban, perhaps.
Very powerful. Take a breather. Brilliantly put together to explain how it affects us. So again, all these videos are part of the pack and deck you get. So our whole thing is all about people taking action. So basically, in the guide, so you've just shown colleagues the video and done the eye opener. So our work is crucial that when we see or hear migration, we do not remain bystanders, become active allies. So all them instances said, what do we do if we saw, heard something's happen? So it's encourage your organizations to sign up to It's Not Micro, which aims to normalize the calling out of microaggressions. So normalize calling out. Take the time to learn more about microaggressions. See some resources in the pack. Think about the impact of any biases you may have and the language you may be using. Next slide. And then there's a few other actions there. So basically what we're asking colleagues to do is just pick one action. So that's imagine, if you're a 10,000 organization or 100 organization, if everyone did one of these actions, that will make a huge difference and it will change the thing. Next slide, please. We've also this year got to have an action that senior leaders can do because we know they can have a big impact. So they can lead by example. So actively show that it's okay to challenge microaggressions by implementing the It's Not Micro solution in your organization or department. Next slide. And then on the pack, there's a there's a little thing where they can fill out their action and then the sort of deadline that they look to do it. But people can do this in their own space and own time. So that's day one. Next slide, please. And what we do for those that are interested in more, there are more resources, more videos, more workshops and training there. So again, but the rest of the thing just takes 5-6 minutes. So, okay. Thank you. Next slide. So the 5-day challenge to the feedback made staff think about issues which they had not previously acknowledged. Okay. Okay. Day 2 is all about different cultures. So how can we know about or understand things when we've never seen, heard, or read about them? Next slide. So the eye opener for day 2 is how often do you read books, listen to music, or watch movies which expose you to different views and cultures? So how often do you read books, listen to music, or watch movies which expose you to different views and cultures? Never, rarely, occasionally, often, or always. Okay, so have a think about that. Next slide. In the UK, only 1% of candidates for GCSE English literature in 2019 answered a question on a novel by an author of colour. That's by Penguin Random House. This statistic alone shows that even in our early education, we are not exposed to different cultures. Therefore, it is no surprise that we carry this into our adult lives. However, when we do expose ourselves to books, music, movies, etc., that have different views and cultures, it helps us become familiar with people's differences and experiences. And that can help us replace judgment with understanding. Next slide, please. Here are some examples of the benefits of exposing yourselves to different views. We begin to celebrate those differences rather than judge them. I think celebrate differences is important. It encourages discussions about people's cultures and views that are different to our own. Next slide. It helps us understand the barriers and challenges people naturally face because they are different. It helps debunk stereotypes, and we learn to respect each other's differences and cultures. We shouldn't keep asking those with lived experience to educate us when there are enough resources, including Google, to do our own research. Next slide. So let's have a video that can help with this. Thank you.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by. Those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here. The people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow. The religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde i rummet var klassens klovn? Hvem er bonusforældre?
And then suddenly, there's us. We who believe in life after death. We who've seen UFOs. And all of us who love to dance. We who've been bullied. And we who've bullied others. And then there's us, the lucky ones who've had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual, and we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life, and we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think. TV2 Denmark. All that we share.
Yeah, I'm not saying you've got to sign up to TV2 Denmark, but it explains that, how people who we think are very different to us might be very similar to us, etc. And exposing ourselves to different views introduce us to new things and experiences that make our lives richer. Try watching or reading about a place or a character that is different to you. What's great now, this can be found on Netflix, Apple, Disney, or local bookstore library. There's also a range now on Audible, and you may find people from different communities posting on social media. Try it once. You never know what new joy we may come across. Next slide, please. So basically, we've pulled together, and there's a book from the list of the most popular books from other cultures in Goodreads. Watch a movie from the list of the best movies about different cultures and nationalities in IMDb. So all this is in the guide for you. Next slide. If you have children, I think this is important, encourage them to read books and watch films that are based around different views and cultures. We can't start too young. Or ask colleagues to recommend a book or a movie to watch from different cultures or about their heritage or language. Next slide, please. Here's something your leader can do. Watch a movie or a series from our recommendation list, and then discuss it with colleagues, teams, department, or encourage other colleagues, teams, department to do. So we can start communicating about different things and learn from each other. Next slide. So as per normal, there's an action that can be taken. Okay. Next slide, please. And there's additional resources. Day 3 is about public praise. Do we praise some people more than others? Next slide. The eye opener is, if someone does something well in the workplace, do you publicly praise them regardless of their race? So if someone does something well in the workplace, do you publicly praise them regardless of their race? So the options are, I often praise colleagues publicly in the workplace regardless of their race. I often praise colleagues privately in the workplace, regardless of their race. I praise ethnically diverse colleagues publicly less often than others. I praise ethnically diverse colleagues privately less often than others. I rarely never praise anyone. I rarely never praise ethnically diverse colleagues. Again, it's a good chance to self-reflect. Next slide, please. And there's science about the difference it makes on people if we praise them. Next slide. However, ethnically diverse colleagues can often feel as they have to work harder than other colleagues to be publicly recognized. A research carried by Coquel in 2022 found that more than 3 in 4 Black UK professionals felt that they had to work harder than others to advance in their company. Next slide, please. I won't do this one. Next slide, please. And then we'll show a quick video on this. Thank you.
What happens when almost anything goes well in our lives in the moment, we get a little shot of dopamine that gives us reinforcement. Recognition does the same thing. It gives people reinforcement for something that they did well. A couple keys to this particular element. One is that it has to be frequent. We word it in the last 7 days. Recognition is an ongoing need. It has to be frequent. Every time we do something well, we should get some kind of reward for that. Psychologically, it doesn't cost anything. We never get it perfect, but the way to get it more perfect is to think with each person and have a conversation with each person about just asking the simple question, how do you like to be recognized? And you'll find a lot of variation across people in terms of how they do like to be recognized. For some people, it's public recognition. In fact, for a lot of people, that's the best form of recognition, to have it given in public. But other people don't like that attention in public. They would rather have it to be more a one-on-one situation. But I was talking to a coworker once and asked her how she liked to be recognized, and she said every way possible. So there are people that like it, in person and public as well. But another way to think about it is ask them what their best past recognition was. What's the best recognition you've ever received? That can give you some insights. These are just real simple questions that turn on some light bulbs, and it's going to vary by individual person. But managers are in the best position to do that right. The goal is to develop a culture where the expectation is that everybody on a team is responsible for recognition. And so to develop that kind of culture, there are all kinds of techniques you can use to have a culture where people can write notes to each other. I think email, of course, works really well for that, or not. But to make sure that people know that it's an expectation of everyone to notice when someone does something well and to let them know about it. This relates to one of the other elements in the Q12 around quality work. How do people know and respect the quality of work of their coworkers? They need to be responsible for watching for it and for letting people know when they see it. That builds trust.
And it's a great way to show, for an organization to explain what good looks like. Yep. When we recognize ethnically diverse colleagues for their hard work, it shows that their efforts in the workplace are not ignored, but instead valued. It also creates a pathway for promotion and development. For many ethnically diverse employees, it is a rare experience and will have an impact on their confidence and well-being and make them feel less visible. And we're also aware that, I think someone made a comment, if you're ethnically diverse and a female, it's even harder and more challenging, or other protected characteristics. Next slide, please. So here are some ways that you can publicly praise your colleagues in the workplace. And acknowledging some people don't want to be publicly praised, but as I said, it's a bit of dopamine. I guess that's how social media works, that thumbs up, like, etc. Next slide, please. I'm conscious of time, so I'll keep going. Next slide, please. Okay, and there's something a leader can do. Promote a workplace culture where everyone recognizes the achievement of others. Okay, next slide, please. Take your actions, and there's more resources. Okay. Day 4, culture of belonging. How can we succeed and thrive if being ourselves does not fit in with the expected culture of an organization? And the eye opener for that is, have you ever been the only person who looks, sounds, and talks like you in an office, room, factory, workplace? Have you ever been the only person? Never, rarely, occasionally, often. Okay, next slide, please. So we won't go through this, but obviously, for many of us, sometimes being the only person, it's difficult and challenging. And this is all about how can we make people feel like they're not the only person in the room, but they truly belong in an organization. Next slide, please. Next slide. We won't show the video. It's a brilliant belonging video. People are very different and how they can be. And again, there's some actions. Next slide, please. If we can go down to day 5. Thank you. Okay. As I said, you can get all this. These are daily PDFs and also in the guide. So at day 5, it'll be Friday for most of you. Will you join millions of others today? And that's our ambition, to turn words into thoughts into action. Next slide. It's all about the big promise. So to help that commitment, we've identified bespoke sets of magnificent 7 promises for ExCo C-suite board, senior leaders, allies, and ethnically diverse colleagues. The sets of 7 have been developed specifically so they each will make a real impact. So there's different promises for different groups because of their power, privilege, position, and organization. Next slide. So we also have an online tool that you can go on to, and it takes literally a minute to do. So you fill out your details there, identify I'm a leader, an ally, etc. Next slide. You then have a choice of your 7, so you can tick 1, or in this case, Donna's to tick 3. Next slide, please. You then get a postcard like that on your screen, and then you can upload your image. Next slide, which looks like that, and then you can post it on social media. You download it, you can post it on social media. So here's some we made earlier and last year, but really simple tool for people to make a commitment to it. You can also download the postcard as hard copies if you wanted to do that. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. So, as I said, these are the daily PDFs you'll get. It's in the pack and the guide, and hopefully you find it useful. Use it for Race Equality Week, but feel free to use it beyond Race Equality Week, yeah? Because it's 24/7, 365 as an issue. Next slide, please. Okay, so I want to share in the chat, just quickly, for you to just write your thoughts on how you think the 5-day challenge can make an impact. How you think the 5-day challenge can make an impact. So just write in the chat your thoughts, how you think it can make a real impact. And we'll share these ideas with you because, again, we know some of you may have to persuade certain people in the organization to allow it to happen. So another way you can get involved is by joining us when we're launching our second brand new solution at the Race Equality Week big collaboration event on the 6th of February. And it's called It's Not Micro. Next slide, please. Sorry, it's called It's Not Micro. If you hear it, don't ignore it. And it will help tackle one of the most common issues the community continually faces, which is microaggressions. So from research 4 years ago, 95% of those we interviewed experienced racial microaggressions, and a similar number witnessed others experience it too. 3 years on, microaggressions are still one of the most discussed. And as you can see here, 83% in 2022 and 84% experience in 2023. So next slide. So we've created a solution because of this. And 89% of allies said they want to support colleagues and would call out and challenge microaggressions. However, and there is a but. So 89% want to, but they don't know how to. They lack confidence or courage. They don't know what to say, or they fear consequence from their employer or manager. Next slide. So this often leads to no action. And as you can see here, only 60% said they're often or regularly called out. So 84% time, it is typically not called out. Next slide. So it's not micro. If you hear it, don't ignore it. And I just want to say that if you hear it, don't ignore it phrase came from a school in Hull. This is kids' experience. They said, if you hear it, don't ignore it. So we want to honor them for that. Okay. And this is by organizations signing up for It's Not Micro. And by doing that, it encourages colleagues and gives them the permission, encouragement, confidence, and guidance to call out microaggressions in a non-confrontational way. Next slide. So when we launch it, you'll have access to 3 resources to help you implement it. Next slide. So you'll have an introduction, setting the context and explaining what microaggressions are and information, and includes the impact of it, explains about the solution, why your organization should get involved, who should be involved and why, and there's supporting resources for it. So it's like a setting the context document. Next slide, please. The second resource is a step-by-step how to do it right guide, how to run It's Not Micro in your organization. And this is for the project lead. There are 9 suggested step-by-steps that's been built with and curated by the Race Equality Matters community, which of course you can adapt to your organization. We've been working on this for quite a long time and we're still developing it because we're getting feedback to make sure it's right, okay? So we want to get this right. And importantly, which the community have asked for, is the next slide, is a game-changing, ready-to-go presentation workshop, which you can run yourselves, okay? And so it's to help engage and provide your colleagues with the tools and know-how to be able to call out microaggressions in the future. So in this workshop that we provide, there'll be videos. So you saw the Badlands ones. Many of you may have seen the mosquito video. The video takes about an hour and it has how to make explaining how it makes people feel. And so you see a bubble diagram there. When someone says something, it shows the thought process or what people are thinking or feeling at the time, which we may not be aware of. Next slide, please. There's discussion topics. So again, so you can have live discussions about certain topics within it. So this is all being created by the community. Next slide, please. Okay. So again, there's a deck there that's ready to go for you to use. So 73% believe It's Not Micro will help tackle race inequality in their organizations. Okay, next slide, please. So Race Equality Week, we've got some key events. So the big collaboration we just talked about, so where it's going to be launched. So also at that event, there's going to be 3 breakout sessions. They're longer than this, so they're like 12 to 15 minutes. So the first one is to talk about how do you get your organization to move from words and just talking about it to action. The second breakout is how leaders and managers are driving change and being accountable and engaged. How do we do that? And the third one is how do we get our allies to become active? So these are discussions that we appreciate. Some of you in there, it's happening, and some of you not, but we're learning from each other. And we'll have some leading organizations that have had success in that talking as well. And of course, we'll be launching It's Not Micro. Okay, next slide, please. The other one is Lead the Change. And this is all about, I call it bring along a leader, but apparently Lead the Change is much more professional. We know that leadership buy-in is crucial to tackle race inequality. Without it, change won't happen. This event, the first of its kind, when we convene leaders with race networks and race champions and change makers like you, it in effect will be the largest virtual mass reciprocal mentoring event ever. Well, I think it will be. We would like to get everyone in the REM community to get a leader or 2 to register for this special event. An ally with influence in your organization. It could be your race network sponsor, EXCO member, trustee, CEO, basically someone with influence. More than one is great. The more the merrier. It will be a virtual event like this and will be a great way for your leaders to engage in Race Equality Week. So how do we make this this event a bit of a game changer and inspire your leaders to join? The thinking is to create a unique opportunity for interaction, engagement, and learning between you, the change makers, and leaders from across sectors throughout the UK and beyond. As you can see there on the screen, they'll be done through 3 virtual interactive collaboration discussion groups, similar to what we've heard today, but again, they'll be longer. And the groups will be mixed of leaders and change makers. The first one is a chance for change makers to learn from the leaders. The leaders will provide some career advice and share top tips and the key skills they have built to progress their careers and what you can do to succeed. Because many of us will not have had the contacts, networks, or families in our communities to get this guidance of how to progress our career. We all work hard, but we don't progress. The second breakout session is the leaders will share what they are doing to enable their organizations to tackle race inequality. So change makers and peer leaders can learn what is working elsewhere. The third part is a chance for the leaders to learn and to hear the voice of the community. This is when the community will share what they need from leaders to support tackling racial equality, not what leaders think they may need to do. And often in their organization, they may not be challenged by their ethnically diverse colleagues, but this will all be very mixed groups. So as a mass reciprocal mentoring concept, we hope this will help people listen and learn on what they hear, act, and then create the change. We have a flyer that you can use to engage, invite your senior leaders, which will be in the link and we'll send afterwards. Next slide, please. So here's some of the organizations who are bringing their leaders along already. So if you do register on that, and it's a free event, we will promote your organization. Thank you. Next slide. We also have an opening event and closing event for Race Equality Week, so we can share what we're planning and hear from each other afterwards. Thank you. Do download the Race Equality Week participation pack. It's got lots of tips and ideas and tells you lots of support for you, and you can use the logo. Next slide. We also have a new solution, perfect for Race Equality Week. It's a D&I and belonging tool created by the Chief Technology Officer behind the Trainline app. And it's what gets measured gets done, and it's multifaceted, it's intersectional. It just takes 5 minutes for your colleagues to complete it. All the questions are there and it's ready to go, but you can change the questions, you can change the answers. It's ready to go, and it's really affordable. For most organizations, it's less than £1,000. Okay, and it makes a real huge difference. Next slide, please. Okay, so if we can have a final poll, that'd be fantastic. And again, we'll share the results. This will let us know what you're interested in and how we can make these events more helpful for you, and also what you're looking to take part in. So thank you. Thank you all for completing this. So 166 of you have done that, so that's fantastic. So would you recommend today's event to others? So 96% saying yes, and then 4% not sure. We'd love to hear from you how we can make it 100%, but we appreciate it might not be for everybody, but no one's saying no, so that's great. Question 2, did you hear or learn anything new today? It's important that our things are fresh, and a fantastic 92% heard or learned something new, which is fantastic. And really importantly, question 3, did you hear or learn anything that you will use? And it's 93%, so it shows our things are implementable. So 93% of you saying yes, only 1% saying no, the rest not sure. So that's really good, and thank you all for supporting each other and sharing top tips and ideas. Question 4, do you think the 5-day challenge will help tackle race inequality in your organization? 77% saying yes, only 2% saying no. 22% say not sure, and we appreciate for different reasons that may be the case, but fantastic. 77% think it will make a difference, so please do use it. It's free. Question 5, in comparison to other diversity and inclusion initiatives, how effective would you rate the 5-day challenge in tackling race inequality? So a fantastic 77% saying more effective or significantly more effective. So 77% saying, 22% saying same, and only 1% saying less than. So that's fantastic. And again, a big thank you to the Race Equality Matters community to helping co-create the 5-day challenge. Do you think your organization will take part in Race Equality Week? 73% say yes. So as we said at the beginning, it was 39% took part last year. So we've got it up to over the 70%. And again, no one's saying no. And we appreciate 17% saying not your decision. So let's add that, and that'll make it 90%, because I'm sure the decision makers will agree. Question 7. During Race Equality Week, which of the following solutions do you think your organization will take part in? and it's 80% the 5-day challenge, a fantastic 80%, 39% the big promise, 43% it's not micro, and then we've got 22% the lead the change event, and 13% the big collaboration event. And then again, 30% of you will do your own things, which is fantastic. So thank you for that. Question 8, will your organization be part of Lead the Change event? So 10% saying yes, count us in, and 37% saying maybe. This is crucial if you want to help inspire your leaders or your leaders to inspire others and learn from the change makers. So we'd love to see you there. We appreciate 51% of you are not sure, and we'd love to hear from you of how we can make you more convinced. There is a flyer that you can send to your leaders with more information. Question 9, would your organization like to join the waitlist for the Race Equality Matter membership? Only 10% saying no, 72% not sure, and 17% yes. There's a link that we'll send you to join the waiting list where there's a 20% discount before the end of January. And the final question, which of the things will you be interested in? So being it's not micro early adopter organization, a fantastic 57%, which is brilliant and inspiring. So we've got to get this completed as soon as we can. Up there also is signing up to the new Race Equality Matter Inclusion Belonging tool. Again, we'll send you information on that. Sponsoring a Race Equality Matter event solution, we'll be in touch for the 11%. And then we've got 27% finding out by the Race Equality Matters jobs board. And it's great to see a quarter of you inputting into future Race Equality Matters solution and insights. So thank you all for completing that. This helps us know what you need, helps us provide you more support, and then, helps us help you make a greater difference in tackling race inequality. So thank you so much. So as you may know, we've got a jobs board, which is available for you. And if you're a member, you get some free access to that. Again, it helps us raise some money for us, but it gets you to a more diverse community. Next slide, please. We must say thank you to our key funders and supporters like that, but also a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. Next slide, please. And please feel free to donate, take a photo of that. Any donation will make a big difference to us. It does add up. And do feel free to fundraise during Race Equality Week, because I think a lot of people have said they might look to do that. Next slide. And do register on our website to be kept posted of what's in the pipeline. Okay, so good afternoon to the rest of you. Have a good January. Look forward to seeing you in Race Equality Week. Don't forget, we've got the info at Race Equality Matters